Well,
Yeah, man.
thank you for joining us.
Of course, my play. Oh, you got it all the way on. Okay, fine.
Oh, yeah,
Well, I mean,
fine.
I'll put it all the way around.
So, everybody, more than likely you've had the opportunity to meet Lawrence Gilliard Jr. But if you haven't, well, here he is.
I'm Lawrence Gilliard Jr. Yes, I'm an actor. This is not cooperating. Yeah, and so you guys may have seen. I mean, I don't know, you guys' TV preferences or movie preferences, but I did a few things. Like I was on a show called The Walking Dead. I was on a show called The Wire. I was in a show called Power, Raising Canaan. I was on a movie called The Water Boy. I heard someone mention that, and Gangs of New York, and bunch of things. I have a very long career, and I've done many. I've done theater, TV, and film. So, and I was invited by your teacher here to come up here and share a little bit with you guys. So here I am.
So, I don't have questions prepared, but I love improv, so we're going to have a blast.
Let's do it.
So first, I want to thank you on behalf of our whole school. This student body is different from any I've seen. I've been teaching 23 years. They're just filled with love. They're filled with passion. They're filled with energy. They're an amazing group of people. And I feel like you vibe with us so well. I feel like you would definitely fit in. We would have had a great time together as kids in this school. But thank you, really, from the bottom of our hearts for being here. It's so I don't know how many of you guys know this, but I was on Instagram, and my son is a huge, he's only 9, don't judge me, but my son Mason is a huge Walking Dead fan. He put me onto it. How does a 9-year-old do that?
I know.
And so it became a huge bonding experience for me and Mason. And so he fell in love with Bob's character, with Bob.
Right.
And when Bob, I don't want to ruin it, but when something happens, my son was so distraught. He was one of my favorites. No, I can't watch anymore. So we're kind of stuck on season 5 now. We've been watching like every time my wife is asleep or not paying attention to me, which is often, we're watching the show. It's a really amazing bonding experience. And so I was on Instagram, and I'm like, you know what? Seems like an amazing dude. I would like to reach out and just see, would he come speak to you guys, speak to my theater kids? And so I shot him a quick little note on one of his images. It was an image that you said, I would never leave New York.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, you know what? That's somebody who loves where he's from, and we love where we're from. And I figured, let me give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
A minute, maybe later, I get a DM. Let's make it happen. No questions asked. He doesn't know what psycho I could be, But within a second, it's like, let's just do it. And so I wrote back, and let's just make it happen. And we just planned it. And he was like, I'll be there next week.
I think this was, like literally last week.
Yep. And so Lawrence just came back from Chicago. He just drove in yesterday, 18 hours, just drove in. I'm sure he wants to rest and sleep, but he's here, so it speaks, so many things in the past week speak volumes to the type of person you are and heart you have. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, man.
This is a memory they'll never forget.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank you.
He's a great guy. I vouch for him. He's great.
I fooled you.
Okay.
Oh, stop.
Well, thanks for having me here. I'm glad I made the trip. It's already been a great experience for me. And so, like I said, I'm here. If anyone has any questions, I know you guys are, acting folks, theater folks, maybe music folks. You're artists, you're artistic people. And so if you guys have any questions at all about anything regarding theater, film, TV, even music, because I did that too, please throw it my way. It's my job to share and, to see if I may say anything to help any one of you to progress. Yes.
Say your name.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Introduce.
You're Missouri? Azuri. Hey, Azuri. Nice to meet you. I'm taking it. This thing is barbaric.
Oh.
How did I get into acting? So first, like I said, I was a musician, and I was actually I'm a classical clarinetist. I was studying. I went to Performing Arts High School as a clarinet major, And then from high school, I went to Juilliard. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Juilliard, but Juilliard is a really big deal performing. Well, it's a conservatory for acting and music and dance. And I went to Juilliard as a classical clarinetist. And it was there that I saw the Juilliard drama department perform. And I was bitten by the acting bug. And when I realized, I decided I didn't want to sit in an orchestra for the rest of my life, and music wasn't really filling me and serving me the way I wanted, then I thought I'd take an acting class over one of my summer breaks. I took an acting class, like it's just like an intensive course. So they have these intensive courses all over the city, right? And I believe New York is the best place to learn anything, right? So I took one of these intensive courses, and I just felt like the sky was the limit. Like I could express myself wholly, fully through acting. Whereas through the classical clarinet, I felt like I was sort of, it's a very structured medium. So I felt kind of stunted and I couldn't express as much as I wanted to. But through acting, I could. And that was the beginning. That was my beginning. I took that class and I was like, wow, I love this and I think it's what I want to do. And then I started taking, I went to another class that was more extensive. It was a 2-year course. And I took that class, and I was very fortunate when I got out. So back in the day, back when I first came out the gates, they used to do things called open calls. I don't know if they do that anymore. I don't think they do that anymore.
I haven't seen that.
They used to do open calls. And so if it was like an indie movie or even like, a major movie, they would do open calls for some of the roles. And anybody, if you read about it in a newspaper or whatever, anybody could go and audition. So I went and I auditioned at this open call, and I ended up getting the starring role in this little independent movie. This little independent movie went to the Sundance Film Festival and won the Grand Jury Prize. And I was the star. So that kind of boosted me up into, it boosted my career very quickly. But let me say this. After I did that movie and that movie came out, I went back to school to train more as an actor because I just felt like there was more I needed to know and learn. And, when you're on this track, the arts track, you never stop learning. You're always learning. You're always growing. You never know enough, right? And you can't know too much when you're doing this type of thing. Everything you learn informs you as an actor. So yeah, that's how I got started, pretty much. That's how I got started. Yes. How was The Walking Dead? Hey, Samantha. Nice to meet you. The Walking Dead was great. So let me tell you, so I first auditioned for Morgan on The Walking Dead for season 1, right? Morgan. I didn't get the part. And so when I didn't get the part, I was like, I ain't watching this show. Forget this. But then they brought me back in to audition for Bob. And I don't know if anybody knows. So The Walking Dead is a graphic novel first. And in the graphic novel, Bob is actually this middle-aged white guy, right?
Me.
He looks more like Mr. Vito, right? And so when I got to the audition, there was a bunch of middle-aged white guys there. And I was like, what am I doing in here, right? Anyway, I went in, I did my thing. And the casting directors, who I knew from other things, they were like, that was good. Do it again. So I did it again. All right. The next audition was for the directors, the producers, and all them. And I went in, I did my thing, and I got the job. And on my first day, it shoots in Atlanta. At that time, I was living in L.A. On my first day, I drive up, and I'm standing there, and I see a person way down at the other end of the parking lot running towards me. And I'm like, oh, who is that? And he starts running, and as he gets closer, I realize it's a walker. He's running, and he runs right by my car. He just keeps running. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm on this show. This is so great. This is going to be so much fun. Because I love that. Like, that's one of the things I love about TV and movie making and theater, too. It's the movie magic, the TV magic, all the makeup, all the costumes, when they're building sets. I love that kind of stuff. So it was great. It was fun. It wasn't easy. It was hard because that show shoots in Atlanta, in the South, in the summertime. It's hot. We were always in the forest, in the woods. People think that acting, they think it's glamorous. It's not glamorous. Being on sets is not glamorous. And being on that show, it wasn't glamorous. You're in the woods all the time. There's bugs. I was bitten by 3 ticks that year.
Oh my God. Wow.
There's spiders. There's all kinds of stuff out there, right? So it's not glamorous. The glamorous isn't until, you're walking the red carpet. That's the only glam part of it. The rest of it is really hard work. It's really hard work. Yes.
Hello, my name is Marcos, and I want to ask, how many mosquito bites did you get while recording The Walking Dead?
Hey, Marcos. So in that first season, I got 3 mosquito bites. No mosquitoes. I got bitten 3 times by ticks, but no mosquitoes. Mosquitoes were around though, but I didn't get any mosquito bites.
They claimed you.
Yeah, the ticks. Once I was bitten by the ticks, the mosquitoes didn't mess with me. They're like, oh, he already got bit.
Tainted meat.
Tainted meat. Yes.
Pop up round 2. How was raising Kion? How was that one?
Raising Canaan?
Yeah, raising Canaan.
Raising Canaan was a lot of fun. I got to work with this rapper Joey Badass a lot. He was great. Yeah. And he was good, so he comes from a different world, like acting isn't his first art, right? And he didn't do things like he didn't go to acting class or anything like that. He just, he's just doing his thing, being natural and doing himself, right? So he was very nervous sometimes, but he made it through. He did his thing, and he rose to the occasion. Oh, okay. I was just making sure it wasn't in my head. He rose to the occasion, and oftentimes that's what happens when you get around certain other artists. When you're a professional, you rise to the occasion. When you're on set and you're working with certain people, you have to become a professional. And so he was great, and being on that show was great. It was a lot of fun too. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, my name's Felisa.
What's up, Felisa?
I won't tell you that though.
What's up, Felisa?
And my first question: what was your favorite project that you worked on? Second question: what would you say to anyone who wants to pursue acting as like a career?
Okay, so my favorite, I can't really say what my favorite is. I loved working on The Wire. I loved working on The Walking Dead, as hard as that was. But I also loved doing The Water Boy. Like, that's still the most fun I had on a movie set, The Water Boy. There's no real favorite. I just love working. Like, whatever I do, I just love working, right? I put myself in it, and I try to just love it. Love the process. Love it all. What would I say to anyone who wants to pursue acting? I would say whatever it is that motivates you. So when I was, I hear this all the time, a lot of times from actors. They're like, don't let it be about the money. Don't let it be about the fame. Let it be about the work. It's about the work. Ultimately, it is about the work. It's about you telling stories, right? You're communicating. That's how we're communicating with the world. We're telling stories. We're telling stories of people that really exist in the world. Even though it's fictional, it's a fictional person. But like Bob was a fictional character on The Walking Dead, but Bob was an alcoholic. There are alcoholics in the world. You know what I mean? So for me, any character that I'm playing, I'm feeling like I have to do this character justice because this person exists somewhere in the world. If it's a doctor, if it's a police officer, whatever it is that I'm doing, a drug dealer, whatever it is, I'm like, somebody's living this existence for real. And so I have to be the best that I can be, right? Now, whatever motivates you to want to be an actor, I was motivated by money to be an actor. Because, I'm honest, because I was like, I want to do something where I can make a lot of money and help my family, right? I come from a low-income household. I don't know if anybody here knows about The Wire, but The Wire was a show written about West Baltimore, and it was literally written about the neighborhood that I grew up in, right? So I come from a low-income household, and my motivation was always to help my family. So, and to meet girls, cute girls, right? So, so I'm like, all right, what can I do where I can make money and meet cute girls? I'm acting, right? This was after I decided I didn't want to play music anymore. But then once I took the acting class, I fell in love with the art of acting. I fell in love with acting. It became bigger than the money. It became bigger than anything else. I was just like, me being able to use this medium to educate, to inspire, to inform, to maybe, maybe my character overcomes some hardship. And maybe whoever this person is in the real world might be going through this hardship. Through me, they can figure out how to get over it, how to get past it, how to get through. So that is what my motivation is now, And so I would say, to anyone who wants to pursue acting, get yourself into a class, right? And try it out and see if it's something that, you have a passion for and you want to do. Because when I tell you it's not easy, it's not easy to do once you're doing it. And it's not easy to succeed and progress. None of it's easy. None of it's easy. Yes?
My name's Achilles.
What's up, Achilles?
How was it working on The Waterboy?
The Waterboy is still the most fun I had on a movie. I don't know how we got it made because all we did was laugh the whole time. It was so much fun, so much fun. We shot it in Orlando. Adam Sandler is great to work with. He's on screen. He's very loud and, he's very in your face and just, But in life, he's really shy and really quiet. He is not the life of the party. He's like, if he were in this class, he'd be in that corner in the back over there. Yeah. And he would talk like he talks, he's approachable. He talks. But, when I've been around him, when people come up to meet him, he's like shy. Like he'll look around like he has this nervous laugh. Right. But he's a comic genius. He knows funny. He's just a funny person. And I met a lot of great people working on that, and I had a lot of fun. So yeah, The Waterboy was definitely a highlight in my career that I'll never forget. I met this guy named Henry Winkler, and Henry Winkler, he played this character named the Fonz in a show called Happy Days way back in the day. Henry Winkler adopted me when we were doing this movie.
Really?
He would take me everywhere. His family came. I got to go to NASA and go on a space shuttle because I went with Henry Winkler.
He's a New York guy, right?
He's from New York. Yes,
Right.
yes. He's in LA now, but so Henry, he, and we speak all the time. So yeah, it was a great experience for me. Yep. And then I'll get you in the back in a minute. But yes.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Like,
My name is Kimberly.
hey, Kimberly.
Can you describe your most challenging role and how you decided to approach it?
My most challenging role was actually a play. It's called Top Dog Underdog. Yes. It's called Top Dog Underdog. So myself and a guy named Harold Perrineau did it. Harold Perrineau is now on a show. What is that show he's on? It's a horror show on Bravo. I can't think of the name of it right now. But he did a lot of big films, and you can look him up. So it's a two-hander. It's two brothers. And at the end of the show, I played the younger brother. Harold played the older brother. And at the end of the show, the younger brother kills the older brother. Right? And they are all that each other has. It was directed by a really famous director, George Wolfe, he's like a multi-Tony winner or whatever, and a genius. And what's crazy is this. So I auditioned for George a bunch of times. He never hired me for anything. So when they wanted me to go in for this, I was like, why? Why are you going to waste my tokens? We were using tokens back then, right? Why are you going to waste my tokens, George Wolfe? I went in. I didn't even prepare, right? This is how the universe works, right?
Wow.
You guys are religious people. This is how God works, right? I didn't even prepare. I went in, and I literally just read the scene out of the play.
Wow.
And I was holding a cup of water.
Wow.
He was sitting there, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. Who sees the red card? Who sees the red card? I see the red card. Who sees the black card, right? So he goes, I read the whole thing. He goes, okay. All right, put the water down. I'm like, all right. Hey, let's do it again. So we did it a few times. He gave me some direction. We did it a few times. I left. My agent called me before I got to the train. He's like, what'd you do? I was like, it was horrible. Like, I'm ready to throw myself in front of a Mack truck or something. He goes, that's funny because you got the part. I was like, what? George saw something in me. I don't know. That's how genius he is. Like, he saw something in me. He saw that part. What's funny is the character is the complete opposite of who I am as a person. And Harold's character is the complete opposite as he is. They should have flipped the roles. I should have been Link and he should have been Booth because he's very, and I'm chill. But they flipped it. So because they flipped it, and now I had to be, it was so hard for me to find that and to get into that. And there were often times where George himself, like one time, he yelled at me in front of everybody. It was the end of the play. She knows this play. It was the end of the play where Booth kills the brother. And as actors, we're very cerebral. We're always trying to make sense of everything. So I'm doing the ending, and I'm like, you shouldn't have done that. And he shoots his brother. So I've got the gun. I'm like, you shouldn't have done that. And that was mine. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying it, but I'm making sense of all the dialogue. George goes, stop. He's like, just stop. He comes up on stage. Now, Harold's right next to me, you know, and the set design, everybody's there. He comes up to me. He goes, no, no, no. This is George Wolfe. He goes, no, no, no. You're trying to do this, 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 and it's not. It's this, it's this, it's this. Just like that. And I was like, you know, I'm a professional actor. Who you talking to, bro? But I was just trying to, you know, I wasn't getting it. I wasn't getting it. He was like, that's it. Rehearsal's over for the day. Just go home. He just ended the whole rehearsal. The stage director came up and put his arm around me and walked me off stage. It was embarrassing.
Oh, no.
It was horrible. But I went home. I stayed up until the morning hours trying to figure out what he was talking about. And then I realized this character, in that moment that he kills his brother, he snaps. He is not making sense of anything. Anything. He has lost it. He is out of his mind. Everything that he's saying right there in that moment, he is out of his mind. And I was trying to make sense of it. That's what a great director does, right? So anyway, that was a really, really challenging role. But once I figured that out and had that moment, then I could go there every single night. But then I had to decompress every single night because I couldn't take that home to my family. Right? But that was probably my most challenging role. And that is the role when people ask me, like, later in my career, what's the role that I'm going to say that, you know, I loved the most or thought, you know, I couldn't do. That's the role that I'll probably look back on and be like, wow, look, I did that. I can't believe I did that. Also, the way he directed it too, bro. It was like I had to literally plan when I was going to breathe. We were like, boom, 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 through the whole show. No intermissions, not through the whole show. We were hitting it like that.
Yep.
So I was like, la, 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 breathe. La, 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 breathe. In the back with the glasses over there. Yep. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Jada?
Apple.
Jada, there you go. Project that voice. Some of my favorite people to work with, or Adam was great to work with. Everyone on The Wire, like Wendell Pierce and Seth Gilliam, and Idris was great to work with, and Dominic West. Everyone on The Wire was great.
Seth was in The Walking Dead as well.
Seth was in The Walking Dead. Chad Coleman.
Right.
He was also in The Walking Dead and The Wire. Right. The whole Wire cast was great to work with. Samuel L. Jackson was great to work with. He taught me a lot. Like, and we did a what's his name? His name just went out of my head. Steve Buscemi movie called Trees Lounge, right? So Sam said to me, here's a message, here's a lesson for all you guys who are going to be actors. That Sam imparted to me that I'm going to impart to you. He said, just work. I don't know if you guys know Samuel L. Jackson's career. Samuel L. Jackson will do anything. Like, he works because he remembers when he couldn't get work, right? He comes from the theater, too, New York theater. He remembers when he couldn't get work. He will do that's why there's movies like Snakes on a Plane starring Samuel L. Jackson. Like, he'll do whatever, right? But he said, just work. Work begets work. So just keep working. It doesn't matter, you know, whatever the project. I mean, you don't want to put yourself out there where, you know, you're being taken advantage of in any kind of way like that. But there's no small parts and there's no, you know, big part. There's just parts. And just work and have fun with whatever it is that you're doing. Lawrence Fishburne, he's great. He said to me one time, he was a great guy. I met him at the Boys in the Hood premiere. He was sitting behind me. And
You're a young
turned
guy.
around, huh?
Young guy.
Yeah, I turned around. I was like, I'm a big fan. And he gave me his phone number right there in the theater. He was like, call me. I mean, I had a movie out, so he knew. I was like, I'm straight out of Brooklyn. He was like, oh, yeah. Gave me his number, call me. I called him up. At the end of the conversation, I was like, so is there any last words? He was like, let me ask you, when you're in a scene, do you know what it feels like to be in the scene? I was like, yeah. And what that feels like, if you guys haven't felt it yet, what it feels like is when you're really listening to your partner and putting all your attention onto your partner and just reacting off of what your partner's saying to you and doing, and you're not thinking about yourself and in your head and your life, anything else, that's when you're in it. When you're really focused and you can feel emotions happening, you can feel everything happening. And then when that scene ends, people are like, how'd you feel? And you don't even remember because you were so in the moment. That's what it feels like to be in it. So I was like, yeah, I know what that feels like. And he said, well, just keep doing that and you'll be fine. So that's the goal. When you're in a scene, be in that scene 100%. Wesley Snipes, I work with Wesley Snipes on this movie called Money Train. Wesley Snipes said, Wesley Snipes was in Michael Jackson's Bad video.
Yep.
He said Michael Jackson, every time they did a rehearsal, Michael Jackson did it 100% every time.
Wow.
He was like, sometimes they would say, let's do it half speed. He's like, Michael Jackson never did it half speed. He would do the spins, the dance, sing the song 100% every single time. So whenever you're in a scene, just try to be in that scene 100% every time, and you'll be fine.
If you want to count how many shows or plays you've been to, how much it comes up to?
Have I been to or have I been in?
Been in.
Have I been in? I don't know. Actually,
Let's check IMDb.
go ahead. IMDb. I think it's something like 90 something. Yeah, it's like in the 90s, I think. It's somewhere like 90 things, 70 something as an actor, and then but 90 in all, like things that I've been in, either as a producer or writer or doing something else in it. I don't, or just being myself on, in a production or something, on TV or whatever.
I'm still scrolling, guys.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Still scrolling.
Yes. Hey, Felipe.
I would like to ask you, when it comes to like moments where you have to physically like think throughout the scene,
Mm-hmm.
what keeps you going to remember all your lines? I struggle with, remembering.
Remembering your lines?
So yeah,
There's different techniques that people use to learn lines, right? When in my very first acting class, that class I told you that I took in the summertime, the teacher, he taught us, there was a juggling method. So I don't know, have you guys ever been doing something and somebody comes in and says a number to you or a name to you, and you're focused on that thing, one thing, but they come in and they say, 555-2222, 2377 or whatever, and you just remember it. It goes into your short-term memory, right? And you just remember it because your attention wasn't really on what it was on something else. But so anyway, he taught us this technique where we would juggle or we would toss a ball, and he would repeat the lines, and our focus was on the ball, but we would hear the lines, and it would go into a different part of our memories, and we would just remember. So I used that. I used that for many, many years. I used that sometime. People talk about learning by rote.
Mm-hmm.
By rote is when you just say the lines without any commas, any punctuation, any inflection, and for some reason it just sticks better that way, by rote. Also, there's a way where you can record the scene, record it. I do this sometimes. I record the scene and I read both the characters, and then I'll play back over and over and over. It's almost like when you watch a movie. I'm sure you guys got your favorite movies with your favorite lines that you can just repeat. And then so-and-so said, and then blah, 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 and you can just repeat. It's because you watched it so many times, it's just stuck, right? And so sometimes you can do that. So there's different methods you can use. And I would just say the biggest way is just repetition, bro. Just repetition. Once you get the repetition, and then once you get the intention of the scene, what you're doing, what the character wants, all those things, then it's about putting your attention on the other person, because that person, what they say, is going to inform what you're going to say. And it's going to inform what you're going to do. And then once you know the lines, you don't even have to think about them, because they're going to tell you what your next line is, because you're listening to what they're saying. And you're going to react. Oh, they asked me what I'm having for lunch. Oh, this is I say what I'm having for lunch line. And then they ask me if I want any ketchup. Oh, this is me responding to if I want any ketchup line.
And then you're really in the moment.
And you're in the moment when you're doing that. Right. Back there. Yes.
All right, hi, it's me again.
Hey, me again.
Yeah, my name's me again. But how do you deal? deal with like I don't know how to describe this, but like the pain that happens after like a rehearsal?
The
Like your
pain?
body aches or something like that.
Oh, you mean physical body aches?
Yeah.
Well, if you have any kind of physical pain from like, if you're doing stage combat or anything, like that, then, yeah, you got to take care of that. It's like if you're doing something athletic and you have any pain, it's the same thing. Rub something on your knees that's gonna help them to soothe your knee or your back or whatever. You take care of it like any physical health issue. That's how you take care of it. Yeah. What's up, JJ?
And I have one simple question. Have you ever been in a romantic play?
A romantic play? Not a romantic play, but I have needed to be romantic in movies and TV shows. Yes, I have. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys real quick, right? This is high school, right? Okay. The very last movie that I did, I actually had to get full birthday suit. For the first time, I've done scenes where I was like where my chest was out and where we were like under the covers and stuff like that, making out, stuff like that. But this is the first time I had to be like full birthday suit, right? It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy, but I'm a professional and I want to tell the story to the best of my ability, and it's in the script. Right, and it wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't just for no reason at all. There was a reason why I had to be this way, and why my character needed to be this way. And as a professional, I have to justify this, right? Because Lawrence doesn't just walk around in the nude, right? So I had to justify why the character needed to get undressed at this moment, which I did and made it real. And then once that was over, it's like it was me and another person, and we were having an intimate scene. I put my attention on that person. It takes it off of me. And that makes me more comfortable. It makes me feel like, all right, is she okay? Is everything going with her? I want her to feel more comfortable because she's got to be feeling more uncomfortable than I am, right? Because she's in the same situation. So I put my attention on her. That takes the attention off of me. And then the rest of it is it's work, bro. It's just like a choreography, right? It's choreography at that point. One other fact. Oh, yeah, right here. You haven't asked a question. Yes.
Hi, my name is Rin.
Hey. Yeah, Wayne.
And I wanted to ask, like, what was I gonna say? Wait. Oh, when you're doing like kissing scenes
Yeah.
and like intimate scenes, like how uncomfortable is it? Like, how do you do it?
Okay. So it's.
I would refuse.
Well, okay. Well, I'll say this. There's characters who are intimate in TV and in movies and on stage, right? If you're going to be an actor, then you have to find for yourself. You have to figure it out for yourself how you can get through these things, right? For me, I get through it because it's more important to me to tell this story than me feeling like, oh my gosh, I got to kiss a stranger. No, for me, at the point where I have to kiss somebody, I'm like, why is my character doing this? And I want my character to be real because, like I said, there's somebody in the world, this person exists in the world, right? There's a person who is a cop who's kissing his wife, but doesn't really want to kiss his wife, or is kissing his wife and is passionately in love with his wife. And that cop is going to be watching me and thinking, hey, I relate to this character. Oh, yeah, he's really he really loves his wife, just like I love my wife. And now he's got to go out in the field and put his life in danger or whatever, or he gets into an altercation or whatever. There's a real person. And so for me, I want to make it as real as possible. Kissing someone else, so this is what we generally do. Kissing has changed. Kissing used to be back in like the 70s and like the 80s. They used to go all in. They used to go for it, right?
Now it's like the upper lip, right?
Now you choose a lip. Now you choose a lip. I got to tell you the technique. You choose a lip. So you talk to the actress, right? I talk to the actress. I'm like, you want the bottom or the top? She's like, I'll take the bottom, right? I'll take the top. And you basically just suck on the top lip or the bottom lip. But there's no like tongue involved. You try not to have, like I'm going to ruin TV and film for all you guys. If you watch kissing, it's like so fake. It's like, Oh, it's all just lips and lips, right? And it's very hard to make that passionate. But that's what it is, because people want to feel comfortable and they don't want to have to go home to their spouses and be like, "I made out with so and so. It was so good. Oh my god."
Say like, if you're like dating or you're like dating someone, have they ever had like a problem with that?
So yeah, so I'm not. I was married for a very, very long time, and my ex was like, "I better never see any tongue go in anybody else's mouth." Like she was very like, yeah. But she's an actress too, so she understood what it took to be an actor. But I have heard stories about people who are actors or actresses, and they're dating or married to people who aren't. And sometimes they have a hard time. But like my last girlfriend, she's in the education. She works at
Oh.
NYU. And I told her about this piece where I had to go full birthday suit, and she was, and she was like, she was just like, I am not telling anyone. I don't want anybody to see this movie. I'm not going. I was like, why don't you come to set on that day? She was like, I am not going to set on that day. I am not going. I don't want to see you with anybody. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it can be an issue.
How was it like with Andrew?
With Andrew Lincoln is great. He was like the father of the show. He welcomed everybody into the show. He's a very intense actor. Like before every scene, he would hype himself up, get real, and then he'd be like, "All right, let's go." But he's a great guy, really great guy. Yes.
When you were first starting out, how did you like get over your stage fright?
So I was fortunate that I was a musician first. So because I was a musician at Juilliard, I was already accustomed to being on stage in front of people and performing. But I'll say this, okay? My drama teacher, when I was in drama school, a lot of people hadn't been on stage. And he said to all of us, he's like, listen, you're going to get nervous before the curtain goes up. You're going to get nervous before they say action, before the camera starts rolling. You're going to get nervous. That's normal. He's like, what that tells you is that you are human. That's all. Just because you're nervous, don't think there's anything wrong with you. It's not about the nerves. Nervousness is nothing but energy. It's about what you do with that energy when the curtain goes up. That's all. That's all. Right? So if you get nervous, you're having stage fright, that's fine. The best way to cure stage fright and to get over stage fright is to put your attention on the other person. Then you're not thinking about anything but, what are you saying? What are they about to say? And then the attention goes here. What are you about to say? And then you're not thinking about yourself. There's nothing to be afraid of. If you're doing a speech, actually, I took a speech class too when I was in high school, like public speaking. Put your attention on the audience. You're talking to them. Right? And if you're nervous, like if you see somebody looking at you, freaks you out, look over their heads, talk to the back room or whatever. You know what I mean? But the most important thing is to put your attention on something outside of yourself. And that will calm everything down.
When I tried that, it didn't really work. It made me.
What'd you try?
scared.
Which one did you try?
Because we did monologues.
Okay.
And Mr. V told me that I couldn't be nervous for the second try. So I tried to think about other things that I really like, right, to distract me. But it made me more nervous because it all ultimately came down to I'm doing it in front of people.
Right. Okay. So.
That they're actually watching.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing, right? When you start doing your monologue, are you talking about when you were doing your monologue, you started trying to think of other things? Or,
Yeah.
okay. So
Okay.
there you are.
We had day one. I did it,
Mm-hmm.
but I got nervous and
Right.
stopped crying.
Okay.
Then day two, I did it fully. But
Yes,
I
you
had
did.
someone with me.
Okay. Well, day 2, you got through it, right? Okay. So you already made a step
Let me
forward.
run off.
Good.
That's right.
You already made a step forward, right? Here's the thing. Okay, so once you start your monologue, you have to get so involved in your monologue. Every single line, what does this mean? What am I saying? Why am I saying these? Once you get involved in all those things and you break all that down, that's what your monologue comes about. It becomes, and once you're working on those things, like, all right, I need to say this. I need to tell this part of the story, and I need to tell that part of the story. And guys, you know why this happened, and you know why that. Once you get into telling the story, you don't have any room to start thinking about being nervous or room to start thinking about anything else, like try to not be nervous because you're busy telling your story. Invest more in telling your story, figuring out what the story, while you're doing your monologue, what is this monologue meaning? This character, what is this story this person is telling? Once you invest in telling your story, then you won't be nervous anymore because it'll be about telling a story from the beginning to the end. I have to tell this story from the beginning to the end about how I polish my sneakers. And then once I tell this that story, which I do not polish my sneakers, as you can see. But once you finish telling that story, you're at the end.
One more question.
One more. Who didn't answer? Who didn't ask a question yet? You didn't ask a question.
So, I would like to ask about, my name is Layla,
Hey, Layla.
and I would like to ask, what would you say is the role that has, like, resonated with you the most and feel like you can relate to the most?
The role that resonated and I could relate to the most was D'Angelo Barksdale in The Wire, because I grew up in Baltimore. I spent 10 years living there, and it was written about the neighborhood I grew up in. So when I literally read it, I was like, I know these streets, I know these people, and so it was very close to me, and it was very close to my heart. I can do one more. I can do one more. Yep.
Hey, my name is Edwin. Is there like any projects you're working on at the moment?
Hey, what's up, Edwin? So I'm currently writing something. I'm not acting on it. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, there's one thing coming up, but it's like a friend's. So there's this guy named Chris Maloney. He's a well-known actor. He was on SVU, and I think he has his own show now. He's on something now. But anyway, his daughter is a filmmaker, and she's doing a film. And so they hit me up and was like, he was like, you want to do my daughter's film? And I was like, sure. Wow. Because, friends help friends. So I'm about to do that, but that's just, that's a small thing. I have another film, that other film I was telling you guys about, the birthday suit film. That's going to be coming out. They just finished editing that, so I'm going to be seeing that soon. And then I did another movie where I played a doctor, a prosthetist, who helps this kid who actually lost his leg, and we were really working with an amputee, a kid who lost his leg. And the story is about him. He loses his father in an accident, but he also loses his leg. And he's an athlete, and he wants to be a baseball player. And so he comes to me, and I help him to regain his confidence, and I build him a new leg. And yeah, so there's that film too. So that's what's up. That's it.
Water.
What's going on? Oh, water?
Brought you
Yeah, I'll
some
get some in
water.
a minute. Are we out of time, or do we have?
It's lunch, but
I heard a bell, so
You
that's what I'm
did.
asking.
if anybody wants to go to lunch, go for it. If you have another minute, if you want to
I'm
answer
here,
anything-
man.
Wow,
I'm
that's amazing.
here.
Wow. It does.
Who's your favorite person like you've ever met?
My favorite person who I ever met. My favorite person I met Whoopi Goldberg. She was pretty cool. Yeah, I met Stevie Wonder was really cool. Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio, they were fun. I worked with them on
Yes.
Gangs of New York. Yes. What's his name? Who was Batman? Who's Chris Nolan's Batman?
Bale?
Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Christian Bale. I worked with Christian Bale in a movie called The Machinist.
Such a good movie.
Thank you, bro.
Such a good movie.
He was great to work with. Another intense actor. I work with a lot of really fun people. Yeah. Mr. V.
No, why not? This is good. These are nuggets.
Keep recording, okay?